There's a bird's nest in this one. No eggs. Hey guys, my name is Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. So today I've got this really short run of fence here. It's only 43 feet long, and to me that is too short to try to stretch fence and try to keep it tight. So instead of using a woven wire fence, what I'm going to use is some old stock panels that I had laying around, and we're going to put those up instead. So you're probably thinking, why did I go to the trouble of building my fence braces and putting all this in the way I did? Because I've built this exactly the way I do all my other fences. I've got a fence brace here and at the other end, and then I've got a bottom barbed wire 2 inches off the ground just to keep animals from trying to crawl under or dig under the fence. So I've went to all that trouble. Why did I do that if I'm not stretching fence? Well, you're about to find out. So I've put all these fence posts in here, and they're 8 feet apart. The stock panel is 16 feet, so it'll end up being where I can staple it at each end plus in the middle. Now, if you've ever messed with these stock panels, even if you've got your fence posts every 4 feet, it still will want to bow in on you. It's easy to push in, and it just doesn't want to stay straight. It'll be a little bit wavy. So what we're going to do instead was we need something to support it. So to make a stock panel look good, normally you have to have boards. If you put maybe 3 boards, top, middle, and bottom, and then put the stock panel up there, you can staple it down to the boards. It looks really nice, looks like a nice fence. Well, lumber prices and everything, boards are expensive, and I didn't want to have to buy any boards. So what we're going to do instead to help support this fence and help it from being able to be pushed out is we're actually going to put some high tensile wire on. So we're going to wrap high tensile wire from each end, and we're going to put one top, middle, and bottom, and then that's going to give something for our fence to be able to press up against and keep it from bowing out when the animals want to rub on it. So this is just, what is this? So this is 12.5 gauge high tensile wire, and we're going to roll this out, make a big loop around the top here. So I've got a staple in the post just to set my height, and that's going to line up with our stock panel. And I'm going to use a gripple to just splice these two together and to tighten this high tensile wire up. Well, I've got the top wire nice and tight, but I have one post that I screwed up on. This one is like way out. It's probably out 4 inches. It's crazy. I don't know how I screwed that one up. I think I must have hit a rock and the auger moved on me. So as we put this stock panel up here, we'll get to nail it onto the post, but this wire right here is going to line up with this wire on the stock panel. And then we can tie these two together so that the high tensile wire is tied to the stock panel. But that's kind of the idea. I need to go ahead and put on two more rows of this high tensile fence, and I got to measure so that it lines up with one of these wires here on the stock panel. So this stock panel is going to be 2 inches above the bottom barbed wire, and then I need to find a middle one to tie it to. So about 27 3/4 inches above the barbed wire, and then it will line up with this one right here. All right, I got my staples in for the right height. We are gonna try to pull this, see if this works. When you work alone, you kind of think up of neat ideas to try to do this by yourself. This one seems to be working at the moment. Tomorrow it won't work. Today it is. As I staple the next one to the post, I am going to make sure that it's the right spacing. Tighten up this bottom one. This is our last high tensile wire to run. Now we got our 3 high tensile wires on. We're going to go ahead and start mounting our stock panel. So we're going to try to line it up so that this wire is right in line, so they matched up. We'll put a staple over both of them. All right, I think we've got our first stock panel the right height at both ends. We're going to go ahead and put a few staples on the posts. I'm going to go ahead and put up the next stock panel, and then the last one has to be cut down. Crooked fence. I really didn't want to bother pulling this back out and straighten it up. I'm gonna have to look at this the rest of my life. It's my punishment. You're good? Yep. All right, we got all of our stock panels on here. You can see that they're nice and straight line at the top going all the way down as they follow this high tensile wire. So it is hard to push out on it, but we can still pull in on it. So to help make this stay nice and straight, I've got some hog rings. This is basically a set of hog ring pliers. And I'm gonna come in from the back side against the high tensile wire, and I'm just gonna crimp that down around the stock panel, and that'll help tie those two together. I think it's going to help keep everything a little bit more straight and just make it look a little bit nicer. These do not have any strength to them whatsoever. So I think if something really started pushing and pulling on this fence, it would pop these loose. But I think this will at least make everything look nice. There they are, they're tied together. All right, I think we're done with this section of fence now. We've got our stock panels put up. So we do have them stapled to the posts. They're not really tight. Some of them are a little bit loose, so this can expand and contract. It's gonna slide a little bit over time. We've got our hog rings tying the high tensile wire to the fence. That really did help straighten it out. Some of these places I've tied it on about every square. I've got several on here. And I think that's really helped quite a bit. I think that's mostly looks. I don't think that gives it a ton of strength, but it does make it look flat. Now, one thing I will say, so this fence, since we tied it to the high tensile wire, this is a perfectly straight line as it goes that way. So it's nice and straight, everything looks good. Now the bottom barbed wire is based off of the height of the ground. So it stays 2 inches above the ground as it goes across. So there's some places where the gap ends up being fairly large, and there's other places as we go along that it ends up being like right against our fence. Like right there, you probably can't even see it, but it's right against the stock panel. And that's because it follows the contour of the ground, and this is just a nice straight line, which actually makes the stock panels look pretty good, I'd say. So on this far post, this is the side we cut off, and we just let the stock panel slide through the fence, and then we stapled it off on the other side to the post. And that seemed to secure that fairly well, and it makes it so there's no openings in the corner. Overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the way this has turned out. It doesn't look too bad. Now, I hate that that post is out. That's gonna drive me nuts. That makes this whole fence look crooked. That one post. I still don't understand how I screwed that up, but I did. Now this doesn't look as good as if we would have done a 3-board fence going across here and then stapled the stock panel to it, and that would have kept the stock panel nice and flat, and you'd have the nice 3 boards going across. I think that would look the best, but this is definitely an alternative way to put a stock panel up and make it look flat and secure without having to add a bunch of boards to it. So the only thing I have left to do on this side is going to be to put in this gate, which I actually don't have the latch. And this gate is going to be so wonky because it is going uphill. So my posts are fairly straight, up and down, but the gate is going to be a little bit wonky. A little bit going uphill, but we gotta make it work. We gotta make it sit in here so that it works. But I probably won't do that today. I really want to get a gate latch so I can get that mounted and make sure this is all going to be, look at the, I don't know if you can tell that, there's a big gap at the top, small gap at the bottom. Yep, this will be a fun one. But we'll make it work. But not today. So we got one more section of fence complete here. Luckily I had these stock panels laying around. I think this was from our original pig pen, I think is what this was from. These are the combination panels. So these are actually, I like these panels because they get smaller and smaller as they go to the bottom. So they're made for all types of animals. So they were good enough for pigs and piglets, having the small wires at the bottom, but yet they're also good enough for cattle and goats. And I like these combination panels. These are the kind that I would prefer to buy most of the time. I do have some of the ones that are the sheep and goat panels that are a 4-inch square, and I may have to end up using some of them at the other end. But yeah, these are fairly handy panels to have around. So I did end up, when I drug all those panels out over there, one of them was an actual cattle panel. And a cattle panel, the very bottom squares are still like this big. So you could have baby goats could crawl through there, or like piglets could crawl through there. So definitely you only want to use that in something that you only have cows in, or steers. But these combination panels, I think these work pretty good for if you have all different types of animals. These work out pretty good. And the sheep and goat ones work good too. So at least we got this section of fence done now. Only thing that's left is to hang this gate here, and this whole end is done. And then I've just got to finish the other end. Now the other end, we'll probably do something similar. I don't know if I have enough of these laying around or not. So we're gonna see how many more of these we can find. I know I've got some of the sheep and goat ones. And we're going to try to do something similar at the other end and then put another gate in. I'd like to find another 16-foot one like this if I can. I found a 14-foot one, but I'd like to go as big as I can. And that'll be something I'll be working on next. And then once that's done, we finally start moving in. Maybe we can start moving the steers in here where they can start eating some of this down. But we're getting closer. One step at a time. We're getting there. But yeah, I'm going to end up probably doing something similar to this. We'll just have to see how it works out when we get to the other end. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. I think we're going to go ahead and head back to the house and fix us some supper. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. I feel like I got cobwebs, or maybe it's just dirt all over me. All right. Nice. Maybe I should turn this around. This thing is like bugging me. Oh. Oh. And there has to be like blackberries or something. I'm gonna like that better. All right. Yeah, that does look better. All right, now let's see what we got. All right. Hey guys, welcome back. Hey guys, my name is Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. So today, I'm working on this really short run.